Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. We're here for the September Fragrance Awards. I've been doing this monthly series for well over a year now and have really enjoyed the opportunity to just summarize what I tried in the month before. Some of them are tried and true, others are new, and then others are ones that I thought I liked and then maybe fell out of love with, or vice versa. Fragrances that I've given a second, third, fourth, or fifth chance to and actually fell in love with. So these are fake categories that I make up to share my impressions with you. And if you've been watching my videos over the past month, I've posted a number of fall gourmand fragrance videos, including one focused on coffee, one focused on chocolate, another focused on caramel and honey fragrances. So to the extent possible, I've excluded the majority of those from this video, although there are some that I still want to talk about. I have worn a bunch of those over the past month. And in case you're wondering, how can one human wear so many different fragrances? Well, if you're crazy like me, you put one on in the morning before you even shower and walk around and have your coffee and try it out and see what you think about it for the umpteenth time in some cases. And then you put one on after you shower. Sometimes that might fade away late afternoon. I may try another one late afternoon into dinner time. And then I may wear another one at night. So if you multiply that out by the number of days in the month, you can get a lot of fragrances in. So we're going to jump right into the categories for today. And I'm going to start with my favorite blind buy, which is Iris Shot from Olfactive Studio. I am pleasantly surprised with this fragrance. Iris and notes like that, violet, can sometimes feel a little too cold for me, so I like it when they're accompanied by warm notes in a composition. This one in particular is warmed up by almond and cardamom. It's a primarily iris fragrance, as you might imagine. There's a carrot seed note in here, which I haven't quite figured out what that means yet. Maybe you know, and if you do, drop it down in the comments. I certainly don't smell carrot, so when I think about what seeds smell like when they're crushed, that gives me a certain kind of olfactory image in my mind, if you will. Now, what I can tell you about this fragrance is that it smells as though a really lovely iris mist was sprinkled or sprayed over a bowl of oatmeal or some other like hearty breakfast grain like that, where it has this kind of like crushed grain type of smell happening with the iris too. It's a very smooth fragrance. There's a powderiness to this. I find it cold and elegant at the same time while still being comforting. That's the interesting thing about this fragrance for me, is that even though it has iris as a predominant note, which is typically a very sort of cold, structured scent, it also has this warmth from the almond that's in it and probably some other notes that I'm not picking out as being warm, like I mentioned, the cardamom, but definitely an iris fragrance. So if you don't like iris, maybe skip something like this. If you like iris and you like intriguing fragrances that seem a little bizarre, you might enjoy this. I will also say that this fragrance lasted a very long time on me. It got soft as the day went on, meaning it was like an intimate scent bubble. And I have to say my husband did not care for this, but I like it a lot and it's definitely staying in the collection. In the category of best bottle, there's just no question about the winner for this month. Marc Jacobs Decadence. I mean, can you beat this bottle that looks like a purse? This is a unique shape and it takes up a lot of space on my shelf. I think of this bottle as like the drag queen of my fragrance bottles. This one is ostentatious, audacious, and takes the stage and struts. Like this one has a model walk with stilettos and the latest haute couture, and she's making her way down the runway showing off, and she has like the whole like dip at the end. You know how models go down the runway and then that's what this one does. She's like, and then she struts away. I like this fragrance a lot. This is a fragrance that, for me, I feel like it's primarily powdery. There are woody notes in there. It's known to have a plum note, but I get a lot of woodiness and iris, as I mentioned, and this powderiness that's almost like when your throat is too dry and you're about to cough. It's that kind of a dryness in here that the powderiness creates. But yeah, iris, woodiness, I find it elegant. Husband loves it. People talk about this being a man killer fragrance, and I think that's true, but I'm not sure why, because I don't pick up like super sexy vibes from this. I just know that anytime I have worn this out to work in an environment where I'm in an actual like office space, I get a lot of compliments from gentlemen, and my husband does like this, and anytime I've worn it in the past, he's liked it too. So this is by far the top bottle design of the month, honey. And in the category of worst bottle for the month, I mentioned this once before, I think only in a celebrity fragrances video a very long time ago. And it's Mariah Carey Forever. Again, another one that my husband likes because he's into like white florals on me. So this is Tuberoza and gardenia. It's got a little bit of greenness to it. It has a little bit of freshness to it. It can smell a little bit like an Airwick air freshener that way. Yeah, like two air freshener, floral-ish. However, it's a nice like white t-shirt kind of a fragrance. If you don't know what else to reach for and you like white florals and you want to smell fresh and clean, this is a nice one. And in fact, I wore it on a day that I was running errands with hubby, and he picked this one out among a number that I said, hey, I'm thinking about these 3 or 4, which would you like? And hands down, without him seeing the bottle, because he can be a little bit of a fragrance snob, and if he knows that it's a celebrity fragrance, then all of a sudden he doesn't like it. So I make him like blind test stuff. I just spritz stuff on the little tester strips, and I let him smell them independent of seeing the bottles. And he chose this one, and then of course was surprised that it was Forever by Mariah Carey, a very inexpensive fragrance. But I digress. I really can't stand this bottle. It looks like a piece of like kryptonite or something that belongs in a superhero movie as the thing that weakens the powers of superheroes, like kryptonite, right? So yeah, this looks like a mistake, a disaster, like someone forgot to finish carving out their middle school glass sculpture project. Then for the sexiest fragrance in the month of September, there were a number of sexy fragrances, but I'm going to choose Instant Crush by Mancera. Some people liken this to Baccarat Rouge 540. I think there are some similarities, but this is its own fragrance. This one stays on me for forever and it projects far. So I have to be careful about how much I spray this. I have oversprayed this in the past and choked everyone out around me. So I have to stick to just a few sprays, maybe 3 or 4. I think this is more than anything a saffron fragrance that has what comes across to me as oud, although that's not listed in the note structure. I get oud out of this. I get saffron, and I get like musk and vanilla. So muskiness with woodiness. I have it on my woody shelf if that helps you figure out like what I think is dominant in this. It's a woody fragrance with a lot of saffron and a sweetness from vanilla and some other notes in there. But it's called Instant Crush, which I think is an interesting name. I don't know that I am instantly in love with it. I've had this for a long time, but it's a strong like teetering into the love category. Maybe I do love it, but it's definitely sexy and I definitely enjoy wearing it. And it's a real powerhouse of a fragrance. You know, these Mancera bottles, people talk a lot of smack about Mancera and say that there's a synthetic DNA to all of the Mancera fragrances. I don't know that I get that. I have a number of Manceras. I might have to disagree with that, but I will say that for the most part, all of my Manceras are long lasting and fairly beast mode. Not all, but they're certainly not poor performers. Next is best everyday fragrance, and there's no question to me that the winner is Victoria's Secret Bare. I tried this out in store. I thought it was nice. I didn't think I needed a bottle. I mean, I don't need any bottles, let's be clear. So that expression is a little bit silly, but walked around the mall, thought it was nice, went home, and then saw it for sale on FragranceNet and added to cart, and so glad that I did. First of all, I really am drawn to this bottle shape, and I can't tell you why. There's something about the shape, like the roundness of this, that I am drawn to, and I even like the cap. It's a really nice looking bottle. It has a great shape, but what does it smell like? It's sandalwood, it's mandarin orange, and it's violet. What that amounts to me is a very fresh, clean, highly appealing smell. This is like maybe a playful sister to Balenciaga Paris, which is a lot colder, more structured, more formal of a fragrance. Imagine adding some playfulness to that one, or imagine if that one had like a playful cherub of a child. It would be this one. This is super easy to spray yourself down in. As you can see, I've gone through quite a bit of it, considering I've only had it for a month maybe, and I've really enjoyed it so far. In fact, this is one of those fragrances that I have to stop reaching for so that I can give others a chance, and I can't explain why. It's not like it's some, we use this phrase too much too. It's not like it's some groundbreaking fragrance or anything like that that's gonna knock your socks off. Nothing like that. It's not gonna set your, hair on fire. Is that an expression? I'm the queen of too many expressions, but there's just something really nice and predictably comfortable and clean and fresh and fun and flirty about this. So that's Bare by Victoria's Secret. Not the longest lasting. You're going to have to reapply every few hours or so. It does stay a skin scent for quite a bit, but if you want it to have presence and project, you're going to have to reapply every few hours. But I really adore this. Best every day. In the category of best gift, who doesn't like to receive something from Tiffany? So this is a gift that you would give to someone who maybe wasn't even into fragrances or understood the fragrance world, but you know they like to smell good and they always have a few perfumes on their counter. Try Tiffany Rose Gold. So I want to thank Tammy at Tammy Central for this gift that she sent to me. Hey girl, hey! And if you haven't checked out her channel, I'll link her below. She's adorable and so fun. This is a really predictable, sweet, musky rose. Again, not a fragrance that is dramatically different from anything that's out there. There are others like this on the market, but lots of folks love to receive a Tiffany box. That's always like an elegant gift. The bottle's really nice with the gold plate on the back, and it's a fairly universal, likable fragrance. Sweet, musky rose. Hard to go wrong with this. The next category is best for the season, and I had to do a couple of repeats from my recent videos here because gosh, these are so good and they're worth mentioning again. So let's give it up for Julianna's perfume, their copy of Gourmand Coco, and it's Call Me By Your Name. So not everyone in my house loves gourmand fragrances. I'm kind of alone there, but I enjoy this. It's just such a nice chocolate fragrance, and not chocolate in like the edible sense. It's a perfumey kind of a chocolate, but you still want to take a bite out of your arm. And even though it's perfumey, it's a bit sugary at the same time, and you get some vanilla. So think chocolate, like a perfumey chocolate, sugar, and vanilla in one fragrance. Really quite nice. And for those of you that can't get your hand on Gourmand Coco because people are charging insane prices for it on the secondhand market, this is a nice alternative, and you get a decent amount of perfume for the price, which I think I paid in this maybe high 50s or low 60s by the time I applied a discount. And they give out discounts a lot, so get on their mailing list. Not sponsored at all, just to be clear. Speaking of chocolates, one that I mentioned in my chocolate video, and I actually called it the wrong thing at the end of the video. Apologize to those of you that watched all the way through to the very end. It is Dua's Belgian Tonka Chocolicious, which is a combination of one of their Belgian something fragrances and their impression of Tonka Imperial from Guerlain, and probably one of my favorite chocolate fragrances. Really super delicious, very creamy, very deep, dark and milky and sweet chocolate. More dark than milky, but a rich chocolate is where I'm going with it. Very sweet, nicely lasting and projecting throughout the day, and keeps its form, which I think is really difficult with chocolate fragrances. A lot of the ones that I try, while I love them, they start off super strong and sometimes they morph into something else. This one stays pretty true to that chocolate note through the majority of the fragrance experience. The category of the best special occasion fragrance is one that a lot of people don't typically think of as a fragrance they would wear to something formal. But listen, it just has this level of elegance that's hard to deny, and that's Chanel number 19. This is the Eau de Parfum concentration. However, I would say the same is true of the Eau de Toilette. Both can be lovely special occasion fragrances. You'll smell different from all the other ladies that may have on heavier, more typically feminine fragrances. This one is a very unisex green fragrance with a heavy dose of iris and oak moss in it. The oak moss I wouldn't say is as heavy as the iris and the greenness, but it's definitely there to add just a little bit of edge to this and make it a true shipper fragrance. It's one of these perfumes that when I wear it, I don't realize how good I smell until other people comment on it. I know I smell wonderful. I know I smell very clean and structured and green and a little bossy, if you will, but it's not until other people compliment me on it. And it's a surprise because it's a fragrance that I would normally think other people would not enjoy because it is a little bit different. It is a little bizarre. It's a departure from the norm that women wear, you know, especially nowadays, more in the sweet, sugary direction. Women are loving lots of ambery fragrances. So this one is very clearly like a unisex shipper fragrance, and maybe not part of today's trend, but always lovely and always in style. I have two in the category of biggest surprise, and I'll start off with Kayali. I always have to look at the name because it's a long name. Kayali Utopia Vanilla Coco 21. I'm gonna tell you why this is a surprise. I put this in an anti-haul video last year for a couple of reasons. People, when this first came out, were complaining that the longevity was awful. And this fragrance new at the time, I mean, it's hard to find Kayali's on sale anywhere unless you're waiting for a Sephora sale, because I think they're mostly exclusively sold through Sephora, at least here in the States, if I'm not mistaken. If you know where else we can buy them, let us know. But anyway, people were complaining about the longevity, and I thought for the full price that one of these bottles commands, which if you want the full bottle, it's going to be well over $100, how can you just put up with such poor longevity? Well, anyway, I ate crow and bought it this year, and it's a surprise because it actually has decent longevity. No, it's not going to take you into the evening, but it takes me into the lunchtime and a little bit after, and stays a nice soft skin scent after that. And it's also a surprise because it is amazing. It's really friggin' good. At least for me, it's a white floral and coconut and vanilla fragrance together. So it's sweet and it's soft and it's inviting and it's everything that I love about summertime. And while I have put my coconut dominant fragrances away, this one has stayed out and is hiding up in those shelves because I plan to see. It does to me what Terracotta by Guerlain does to me. When I sniff this, I remember how beautiful it is and am shocked that I have forgotten. You know, it's kind of one of those things, like it takes my breath away how beautiful this is, particularly on the opening. So that's one. This is awesome stuff, y'all. And then my second surprise is one that I've had for a while, and this is Tocade from Rochas, and is said to be very similar to Woman in Gold from Kilian. I've never tried that. If you've tried both and you agree, let us know in the comments. I absolutely detest this circus bottle, but the fragrance is one, affordable, and two, absolutely beautiful if you like vanilla and if you like green. If you've tried Manifesto by YSL, which I also have, that is like the softer, paler version of this, which I love too. I like Manifesto as well. But if you want something a little bit stronger, more projecting, and maybe a little heavier on both the vanilla and the green notes, try Tocade. And it has this like musky powderiness to it that is, I think, very elegant, very sophisticated. I never regret pulling for this. I always feel like I am in my top feminine form, if you will, when I spray this on. Absolutely a beautiful hidden gem type of a fragrance. I know it looks like I haven't used a lot, and I know sometimes folks complain about that when they see reviewers. How can you love it? You don't have to use a lot of a fragrance, y'all, to really love it. I can do a couple of sprays of this, and it would take me hundreds of sprays to get into the middle, right? But I can do a couple of sprays of this and be good. So don't let the lack of dent fool you when you're watching reviewers and assuming they have never used a fragrance, so what do they know about it? That is not so. I don't have to use it every day to tell you that I love it. Anyway, I'm going on and on. I'm ranting. You get the idea. The category of not a safe blind buy is a fragrance that I admit I had to get used to. I wanted it because it's part of my favorite line of fragrances, Maison Lancome, and this is Iris Dragees, which it took me like months to figure out how to say the name alone. I really like this fragrance, close to loving it a lot now. In fact, I can probably go on and say that I love it. And this is a fragrance that when I first got it, I just thought was a little strange. I never disliked it. I was just like, oh, that wasn't quite what I was expecting. But the magic happens when you put it on your skin and it warms up. Iris, sugar, almond, like this muskiness to it, this sweet musky kind of powderiness. Not loved in this house, which I find weird, and that's why I put it in the not a safe blind buy category. Well, in fact, I had a weird reaction to it at first too, but it's one of these fragrances that if you like iris, if you like almond, if the idea of like a sugary iris appeals to you, then one that you may want to seek out or see if you can get a sample from someone and try it out. But I find it to just be a really nice everyday kind of a fragrance that's not offensive. I don't know, there's something really soft and delicate and feminine about this that I enjoy, and I think I've raved about these bottles enough, but how beautiful is that? I'm going to do the top 3 fragrances for the month, the middle or meh 3 fragrances, and the lowest 3 fragrances. And then I'm going to do an overhyped fragrance and a hidden gem. So for the top 3, and I'll try to go through these relatively quickly, is Indigo from Nest, which is one that I could have also put in the biggest surprise category because I had a little mini of this that I had been testing out for well over a year. And every time I tried it, I just thought it was maybe just a little too weird for me, like something didn't mesh. And I don't know, one day I was shopping through Sephora and decided to give it a go. And Like I always say, it's so different testing something in like one spot, right? Like a little tester sample kind of a thing, than actually spraying yourself with the fragrance. And so that's why sampling can be, well, one of the reasons that sampling can be so challenging. So what I get mostly out of this is a tea note, there's fig, and then I get a woodiness out of this. There's a surprising element to this that's hard to describe. It's almost like it's mentholated, but there's nothing in the note structure that would indicate that. But there's like a bright mentholy kind of a thing for me. And I don't know, it just kind of works. So I have sampled Gris Charnel, and that's still on my list of considerations. I may still get that bottle, but I think after trying this out that this is what I wanted Gris Charnel to be more like, Indigo. And then I also wanted to feature a tuberose bomb of a fragrance, and that is Tuberoza from Nishane. This is a top fragrance because it's a great performer. It's a little bit on the bubblegummy end of tuberose, but also more sophisticated. It doesn't have like, it's a mature, grown woman kind of a tuberose, long lasting, very sophisticated, power kind of a fragrance. And then, y'all, one of my latest like loves, adorations, why weren't you in my collection before, is Cafe Cabanel from Teo Cabanel. So good. It's smooth, it's creamy, it's spicy. Some people consider it milky. I think it's more a little bit, well, maybe it's both. Maybe it's a little bit milky, but then as it settles down, feels a little bit thicker and creamier. A coffee fragrance with, like I said, spices. I think there's cardamom in here. It's sweet. It's everything you want that beautiful, sophisticated, gourmand fragrance to be. And I just love this bottle. Full bottle worthy and worth the full price. By the way, got an email from Teo Cabanel that they are raising their prices due to the price of everything going up recently. So if you want the older prices, check out the website now. I think it's October 1 that they're raising their prices. Then in the middle or meh category, let me just be clear, as I am always clear, all three of these are staying in my collection, at least for a while. I like them all. One I find a little weird. The other two, I just wish that they were more projecting and lasted a lot longer. So I'll start off with Yves Saint Laurent Mon Prairie Intensiment. This bottle is just so stinking girly and cute. Like, how adorable is that? This is your classic, like, fruity, floral, sweet, feminine perfume. I adore this. I feel absolutely beautiful and girly and all things pink and pretty when I put this on. And it does have decent lasting power. It takes me through half a day. I just, for some reason, I wish this was a more beast mode fragrance. It's a little bit on the delicate side. You smell it, but I just wish it was more projecting and more powerful, which I know sounds crazy considering that it is just this delicate little thing. But that's it. That's all I have to say about that. Really good, staying in the collection. And then the same is true for Essence from Genre Parfums. I really love this. This is an indie company and you can find them through Etsy. I don't know if they have their own independent website. I didn't check that before this, and they're out of Louisiana. Some people say this has, again, we compare everything to Baccarat Rouge, so it has a little bit of those vibes. I don't know. I don't know that I get a lot of that. I do find this to be a happy, fruity, floral, very heavily sexy fragrance to me. It's playful, sexy, playful, sexy, and flirty. And I love this. I get a half a day out of this. And then I'm like, where did you go? Come back. I thought this lasted longer when I first tested it, but on the recent times that I've tried it, it's been like a half a day. But man, does this smell super duper good. And then a fragrance that I think I like, but is just weird, is Vanilla Milk from Ellis Brooklyn. One that by all intents and purposes, when you read the notes, should be gourmand heaven. I have to say that on the opening, this has what I consider to be like this gas kind of a smell to it. It's almost like if you can smell gasoline in the distance from the gas station, and there's like a bit of a sour milkiness to it on the opening. You get that for, I don't know, 15 minutes-ish or so until it starts to dry down. And then you get, at least I do, I don't know what you'll get, but I get this melted vanilla Breyers ice cream smell, like, and it's Breyers because Breyers uses the real ingredients, like the real vanilla bean. There's absolutely vanilla in here, like a nice vanilla, but it smells like melted ice cream, and it stays like that. So it's fairly linear and non-dynamic that way. And I think that turns a lot of people off. But yeah, I mean, that beginning, the opening is like, whoa, what did I just get myself into? And once that goes away, you get that melted ice cream smell. If you like that, this is the fragrance for you. I am not entirely sure if I love that. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I don't even dislike it. I'm just like, what do I think of you? Are we friends or are we not? And the bottle is just so beautiful. So that's why this is in the middle category. In my bottom three, I'm going to talk first about a fragrance that I thought I was going to sell, then put it back in my collection, and now I think I'm going to sell it again. I'm not sure, but it's Britney Spears Private Show. I do like this a lot. It's this whipped cream, really like sugary, sweet, cozy sweater weather fragrance. My issue is performance. I put this on and I feel like it's just gone within a few hours. And so like, why bother when I have so many others that have better performance and give me that same kind of cozy sweater weather experience? I know that this is either discontinued or getting hard to find, which is part of the reason that I wanted to keep it. But I don't know. We're going to have a little talk, me and you, and see, what our relationship is going to look like. Okay. One that is definitely going to go out the door, and I kind of feel bad about it and then I don't. It's from Sugar Milk Company and it's Birthday Cake. I really did give this a lot of tries. A lot of tries. I dedicated a full day of my fragrance life to this and several afternoons and several nights trying to like this because it smells like moist, delicious birthday cake on the opening for like 30 minutes max-ish, maybe an hour if you have an active imagination. And then it just settles down into something else that I just really don't enjoy at all. And I'm disappointed because I wanted to support this indie company, Sugar Milk Company, and just didn't have a good time with this. And then the third is Byredo's Bal d'Afrique, which I haven't bought a Byredo bottle. If you've watched my channel for a while, you know that is one of those brands that I just could never get down with for the prices, for what you get, and the Mickey Mouse bottles. They're not Mickey Mouse, but they look Mickey Mouse-ish to me. But I thought I would like Bal d'Afrique based on a sample that I got from it. It's woody and it has citrus in it as well. And so I got an oil perfumery version of it and just didn't vibe with that. In fact, it was like a dislike all around for everyone in my house. So that one has gone out the door. The category of overhyped fragrance. And again, just to be clear, I like this fragrance. It's staying in my collection, but it wasn't quite what I was hoping it would be. I did enjoy wearing it and I will wear it again. And it's Tom Ford's Jasmin Rouge, which reminds me a lot, well, maybe not a lot, somewhat of L'Interdit Rouge. The red bottle, is that what it's called? Which I also didn't purchase. This one has a really pronounced jasmine in it with some spiciness. And I think there's a little bit of woodiness and I get even a little muskiness in this. And I enjoy it. It's just not like the fragrance wonder that everyone makes it out to be. It will stay in the collection, but I do think that this is overhyped. And then an underhyped fragrance, although the performance of this is not the best. Affordable gem. Lalique Le Parfum. This gives Angelique Noir, in my opinion, a run for its money as an aromatic vanilla fragrance. Wow, this has a bay leaf note in it that is magnificent paired with this really sophisticated vanilla. People talk about Guerlain having a sophisticated vanilla. I think that the vanilla in this rivals anything that Guerlain has ever put out. Really beautiful. You're going to get 2, maybe 3-ish, perhaps 4 if you're well hydrated and moisturized out of this fragrance. Bottle is gorgeous, super affordable on the gray market right now. If you like aromatic vanillas, y'all, this is one to reckon with. So that's my fragrance awards for September. Would love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to let us know in the comments what your favorite fragrance for September was. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video, my friends. Take care.